Oh,
Hey.
oh,
Hey.
Work it.
Work it.
for B-side fight.
B-side fight.
B-side fight.
Hey.
Get in.
Hey, man. Welcome to the Developmental Focus Point. I'm your host, Bo Scarbrough, two-time national champion. And with me, as always, my three legends, Alabama, all-time, Blake Sim, Trent Richardson, and Christion Jones. And tonight, we have a very special guest, one of the guys that started the Coach Saban era, the stable of running backs, the best outside zone runner that we had that come through Alabama, one of the greats to ever do it, Glen Coffee. How you doing, Glen?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Glen Coffee,
Yeah.
Thanks for the
founder
intro.
of RBU.
Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. We will really appreciate that. But what's going on, Blake, Christion Jones, Trent, Justin
What's up,
Riley?
baby? We glad to be here, man. We just glad to be here.
Yeah, man. It's a great day to be alive, man. It's a great.
Man, I tell you what, man, this right here, man. I think each show for me, man, get more special and special, man. Cause we bring on guys that has been dearly to my career. Helped me through my career, my Bama days, even beyond that, even before that. So to have Glen Coffee on here, y'all, man, this roses ain't the word that this young
That
fella
nigga about to
needs.
cry.
And
Come
listen,
on,
listen.
come on, Christion.
Listen, bro, like the stuff that this man have done for me, bro, my family, bro, I can never repay this man. Just for the challenge, even playing ball against his little brother, we always battled, and he kept me at the top of my game too, whether it was weightlifting competitions or wherever, track. So it's a lot of my career, far as the opportunity that I got, and then the motivation that I got. I owe it to these guys like him and Terry Grant and Roy Church, the guys that came before me, man. So, man, it's a treat for me to have you on here, Glen, man. I appreciate you for coming on, big bro.
Yeah, of course, man. Appreciate it too.
Hey, Trent. You know what I just thought about?
What's that?
Out of all the running backs that came through Alabama, it's only me and you that know every running back in Coach Saban era.
Yeah, that is funny. Funny. That's crazy. I ain't even think about that.
Even all the way back to 92.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like that. We really the only two that know everybody that like play running back at Bama like personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just so crazy how I met Glen, then how I met you, then Blake played running back at a certain time, then Terry Grant, then TJ Yeldon and Derrick Henry, Eddie Lace and Mark Ingram.
I played running back
and fucked it up.
I'm clipping that.
But but man, when but I used to work out in the gym with Glen over there and Johnny Gym, and man, Glen was, man, he was a beast. You know what I'm saying? He taught me a lot of things over there in Johnny Gym, and Glen, like I had a conversation with him a few days ago, and when we were talking about and after the conversation, what I tell you, Glen, I said, dang, I said, man, now, you got me thinking a whole different type of way of life now.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy that, because I've been knowing Glen for a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? Before I even got into college, I was knowing Glen, and when I got to college, he was my GA, and you know what I'm saying? He was always in my ear, basically being like, even though he wasn't on the team, like as a player, it basically like he took me on his wing and showed me, what right was wrong, and basically looking at things different. And we just appreciate you coming on, man, and being able to tell the world your story, man, because some of these young guys out here, man, they don't actually know the real world after sports. And some guys be lost after they don't get drafted and they don't get invited to OTAs, and they don't know what next, and they don't know how to rely upon a degree or get into a field that they really want to get into.
Right.
And I know that you were one of the guys that, once you made up your mind, you did exactly what you said you were gonna do. Like everything that you told me when you was the GA in college, you actually did it. You know what I mean? And it just something special to me that you think totally different, but in a certain way, we all, me, you, Trent, Mark, you know what I'm saying, Terry Grant, Royal Orb Church, all of got something in common, and it just, something special for the people. And I just want you to share your story about, what I'm saying, that it's not all about just football, and try to tell them about the real world of, what I'm saying, how you looked at it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that as athletes, and this goes for a lot of people, not just athletes, but especially for athletes, I don't think we really taught to look within ourselves and find out who we truly is and what we truly want out of life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy when you bigger, stronger, faster than everybody to say, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to be an athlete, or I want to be this all-star player, or I want to do this, that, and the third as far as using your body. Because at the end of the day, either you got it or you don't. Now, of course, some people can work harder than others and go beyond what their genetics give them. But it's a lot of guys who are in the NFL because of their genetics. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're able to put all your eggs in that one basket, and that one basket, that one basket is able to give you millions of dollars or give you what you consider is your dream, you're not looking nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of other people who are not athletes, they taught that you got to know a little bit of this. You got to know a little bit of that. You got to work hard over here. You got to work hard over there. And so they're able to look at life in a multifaceted way. Whereas athletes, we only looking, I'm going to be in the NFL. I'm going to be in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to play baseball. And that's all we focus on. And so for a lot of guys, by the time they realize that the real world is different, they had already spent 25, 30, 35 years chasing that dream. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways, I feel like athletes is behind the 8 ball when it comes to life in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, Glenn, you been where you from? We're from the same area. You from we from the Gulf Coast. I grew up in the projects out there and played at the Boys and Girls Club almost every day. But coming from where we came from, man, you was one of the first ones, besides Emmett, to sign a real a D1 scholarship.
Yeah.
So when that happened, man, like your last year in school, bro, you put the world on notice that, hey, Pensacola or Gulf Coast is where it's at, and so for you to go and do that, man, at a different level. I mean, because you had the DJ Hall come in, which you had to keep Brown too, but you did what you did, and you changed the game for Bama when it came to backs and how they recruited backs. And then you wore that number 38. I ain't never seen nobody wear that 38, and I ain't never seen nobody wear it after you, and made 38 look as good as you did, man. Like, just with your brand within itself, man, you had a different mindset, man. Like, where did that mindset come from?
Really, man, I knew that I had to do something because when I first got to Bama, I was behind Kenneth Darby, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as a freshman, I had to beat out Roy Upchurch. I had to beat out Roy. So Roy ain't want to block. Roy was nasty with that football in his hands, but he didn't want to block. So I said, okay, I ain't trying to compete with him necessarily, talent-wise, because Roy could do it all, So I said, okay, I'm going to block. I'm gonna learn all the plays. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna make any mistakes. And so because of that, I ended up being second string. So the following year, I'm second string again, and then Terry Grant hit the scene and take my spot, right?
Yeah.
So it's my third year on campus. I'm a redshirt sophomore, and for the first time in my life, I'm like, damn, I ain't got no plans. You know what I'm saying? By now, I was supposed to be all SEC running back. You know, the NFL was supposed to already be looking at me with my third year on campus, but I found myself second string behind a freshman. And then Jimmy Johns take my second string spot. So now I'm third string, right? So I said something had to shake. And I knew that my mind was the quickest thing I could change. You know what I'm saying? Because if you run a 4.4, you're not going to run a 4.2. You know what I'm saying? If you only benching 200 pounds, you're not just going to all of a sudden bench 350 pounds. But I knew my mind I could switch on. And when I switched my mind on, that's when I kind of started to hear Coach Saban when he'd say, dominate your box, control what you can control, you know what I'm saying, impose your will on your opponent. And so I started out of my running style after that, you know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, I knew I had to change something to get on that field. And so I said, I'm just going to get nasty. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to turn into a dog out there. So that's kind of how that started.
Man, Glenn, my story
Go ahead,
with you, Glenn, is Coach Burns used to talk about you all the time. And I think he had 2 different pictures of you hanging on the whiteboard, man. And he say, Blake, you acting like this one. I need you to start acting like this one. Or if it was him talking about how your steps was and how smooth you was running north gut or south gut, or just like how you used to read the end man on the line of scrimmage. That was the defense end on North Storm and South Storm. So my question to you is like, what's your message to these young kids right now? Like, what are you telling these young kids as you talk to them?
You got to, when somebody trying to tell you something, you got to listen and really focus, and you got to really do what this person is asking you to do. You know, and that goes for in the classroom, that goes for on the practice field, during the game. You know, like, I feel like a lot of these kids, they taught that if they just act out, and by act out, I don't mean be bad. By act out, I mean, you know, if I just show out, I'm going to get what I want out of life. And that ain't the case. Like, you got to do the little things as well as the big things to get ahead in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll see kids get coached nowadays, right? And like the coach will be trying to get them to understand something, and I know that kid is not really hearing what the coach is trying to say. They think the coach is coaching. They think he just talking down on me. But in reality, he's trying to make you a better player. You know what I'm saying? So, to anybody listening, you know, you got to do the little things, and it's a process to everything. Cause y'all already know Coach Saban, it's a process, it's a process, it's a process. So what does that mean? What does it mean when Coach Saban say you got to trust the process? It means you got to trust every step. You know, you got to take that. You got to do step 1 right before you even think about step 5. You know, you got to do step 3 right before you go to step 4. And so I think trusting the little things in life and trusting the process is like, it's cliche for us, but it's just.
Man, Glenn, I seen, speaking of the process, right? Your last year in school, bro, y'all playing against Kentucky, and I was getting recruited. I remember this game like it was yesterday, and all us down there, me, DJ Fluke, Kirkpatrick, AJ, McCann, all us is down there. All the ones that, you know, supposed to be coming to Bama. And it was wet that day. It was raining, and you fumbled twice. You fumbled one time, it rolled straight down the dang sideline for like 40 yards. It stayed in bounds. Like, and I remember like you was tapping your helmet like, damn, like I need to get right. Whatever you said to yourself or whoever said something to you, pulled you aside, whatever clicked on in your head, you came back and struck for like 80-something yards. And you could see everybody said, Juice gonna do it. Juice gonna do it. I'm sitting there like, Juice, what they talking about, Juice? Saying Juice for the strikeout. And I think it might have been right up the middle too. Then you came back the next drive and ran the outside zone. They might have been South Storm and took it for like another 60. And it was just like, bro, like his composure, like that process, like his will to not give up, not give in, like like that mindset. Where did that mindset come from? And does that get ingrained into you when Burns get there, or did you always think like that, never to let up?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I came up with some situations as a kid that kind of put me in some extremes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not in a good way. You know, and I feel like that kind of molded that side of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest, it was a while that I didn't really care about life at a young age. You feel me? And I've learned through that and through researching other stuff that it's so many people that is who they is because of that pain they experience. You know what I'm saying? Think about somebody who ain't never been through nothing. You can see it on them. You can smell them. You don't even want to really like deal with them because you know he ain't got no substance. You know, so I think that side of me, as far as not having, you know, a will to quit. My dad wrote a book, and I was supposed to help him write it, but I only wrote mostly like the foreword and the epilogue, right? And I think the first sentence that I wrote is, "I wonder if I've been a quitter all my life." And there's that side of me, but there's that other side that knows that, I don't know, it just ain't in me, bro. From the pain, it's really from that pain is where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's really, to answer your question, it's from that pain. You know, to know that if you're not gonna die, then you got another step you can take. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not gonna die, then that means you got to do something to live, you know. And I think that's on the football field, I think it came out like that. Because like I said, bro, I was third string, bro. You know what I'm saying? My third year on campus, I was third string. And then the next year, I'm in the league. I'm getting drafted third round. You feel me? Like, my whole life has always been extremes like that.
I had a quick question for you. You know, playing at Alabama, we all know about the pressures of playing for Nick Saban, but I want to look at the pressure of carrying the weight, like Trent said, of being the first person from your area getting D1 scholarship, getting to Alabama, carrying on the tradition of running back you. You know, we were searching for someone since Sean Alexander to really take things over in that position. But also, too, a lot of Alabama fans don't really understand the atmosphere back in that time.
Yeah.
We were trying to transition out of a very bad period. A lot of the newbies don't understand what it was like. So what was it like for you, you know, like I said, carrying the weight of being the first person from your area, getting a D1 scholarship, carrying on that tradition, being the guy that we're looking to light that fire again, but also kind of navigate us out of that era of probation, scandal, and all that?
I mean, it was wild because it was to the point, y'all ain't gonna, you know, I don't know if nobody told y'all it was just bad, but like, it was to the point to where like teams expected to beat us. Teams in the SEC expected to beat us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's crazy when you think about it now, but it was really like that back then. And so, you know, my first 2 years was with Shula, and then my second 2 was with Saban. So Shula kind of approached us like we already had things in order. You know what I'm saying? So his coaching style was kind of like what you expect out of NFL coaches. You know, he'd talk and he expect us to do it. Well, the SEC don't go down like that. Y'all already know that. You know what I'm saying? It's helmet smacking all game long. So your little coaching words your coaching points can't just be coaching points. Like, we got to feel it in you as a coach. And so when Saban showed up, bro, we felt like we was going to war. You know what I'm saying? Like, we felt like we was going to war. And so that whole mentality is just kind of what I piggybacked off of. You know what I'm saying? Because my mind is a straight and narrow process type mind. I'm really like black and white. You know, I'm very logical. I can be eclectic, but I'm very logical. You know what I'm saying? So when Saban would say stuff, it's like, okay, he know what it means to pick up your lunch pail and make something happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where that stemmed from. You know?
Yeah. I want to thank Jamie for the $4.99 super chat. Glenn, thank you for your service and Roll Tide.
Yeah, man, appreciate that, Jim.
Yeah, man. If you want to get a people a little bit about you know, you being in the service and you know how that, well, I know how it started, but you know, get a people a little taste of you know how it all started.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it real. So
Yeah, of course.
so I only played in the NFL for a year, right? And it wasn't for me. All right. So
Hold on.
wait,
Before you start,
go ahead.
do you mind telling them the story that you told me earlier to yesterday about
About
when you was in the locker room?
Yeah,
you gotta let me
about you
get
being in the
there.
locker room. Yeah. Yeah, you got
He's building
you got to
story.
hear the whole story out.
It's
You gotta
layers.
let me get there.
Yeah. I
it's
thought you
good.
were gonna go straight into the to the service, but I wanted people to hear that part, how it can get to how people mind can change so fast.
Okay. So all right. So man, boy, you can throw me off. I'm finna tell my little story. Um
That's why we the best of friends. We act just alike. We
yeah. So all right, so I quit the NFL and I set on my money, right? I set on my money. I really ain't do nothing. I had too much pride to get what I called a regular job at the time, right? So I set on my money, played Call of Duty, and how I kept my sanity, I told myself I was gonna box. But I'd play around, you know what I'm saying? I'd be in the streets, box, do whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so some years go by, I see my money dwindling, and I'm like, I got to do something. But I still wanted that challenge, you know. It was a little bit of patriotism involved. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna join the army, I'm gonna be special forces, because can't everybody be special forces? You know what I'm saying? I still had that athlete mentality, you know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do it, so I knew I might as well do it. So I got into the military. So back before that, I'm in the NFL. It's practice. It was my rookie season had went by, and we in spring ball. I had got up to like 215, 218. I'm solid, biggest I've ever been in my life. I said I'm going to take over this year. I'm gonna take my second year in the league. I'm taking over. But at the same time, I didn't want to play football no more. If you remember, I had 1 year left at Bama. Trent, I know you know this. I had 1 year left at Bama. I said I don't want to play ball no more, so I might as well get paid to play. So I go to the NFL. I get that check. I get that money. And at first it was cool, but then I started to wake up with this thought in my head: you young, you handsome, and you got money. And to cope with me not wanting to be in the NFL, I started to try to take on that persona. And so I felt myself changing. So I said, you know what, something got to shake. I don't want to do this no more. But who gonna quit the NFL? Who gonna give up all that money? Who gonna give up the potential fame and all that come with it, right? So it's spring ball. It's not spring ball, but fall camp. It's fall camp, and everybody, I'm fully dressed. I got my tape on my ankles. I got my tape on my cleats. I'm spattered up. I'm ready to go. So everybody start walking outside, and I'm sitting on. And I have this thought in my head. I looked down at my cleats, and I said, I need something to happen for me not to go out to practice. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go out to practice, but I don't know how to do that. So I told myself, I said, if I cut this tape off my cleats, I ain't going out to practice. So I sat there for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, staring at my cleats. And when I cut the tape off, I was gone. You know what I'm saying? I went home. They hit me up. They said, Glenn, what's up? You know, where you at? I said, I'm at home. And they came to visit me. And that's how that happened. You know what I'm saying? You said like it's a positive thing, which life is a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. You know what I'm saying? So my biggest strength is whenever I want to do something, when I make up my mind, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But that's also become my biggest weakness too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some things I'm like, damn, why I did that like that? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, but that's what I always liked it about you, from the first day that we met. Like everything that you told me that you were gonna do, you did it. Like when you told me you were gonna go in the garden, I was saying to myself, Glenn ain't finna go be no guard, man. And then, I call him, what you doing, Glenn? I'm in the garden. I got my rice, got my veggies. I'm like, man, you in the garden for real? He said, yeah, man, I told you thought I was playing. So that's why I know, like, man, this is a guy that whatever he say he gonna do, he gonna do it. Like literally, like he gonna do it. And I just appreciate the relationship that I have with Glenn, man, because of, again, man, like that 30-minute conversation we had a couple of days ago, man. You really had me like I told you, like look, I said, man, I never even thought about it that way. And you
Yeah.
were like, yeah, man, you got to look at it, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at it in a different type of way. And it made me start to, think different just off a 30-minute conversation that we had, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, even though we haven't talked in a year or so, it was just like we had just talked yesterday, you know what I'm saying? So it's just an honor and a blessing to be able to, to connect with guys like you and Trent and Christion Jones and Blake, man, because we all have different personalities, and we can all help each other out in all different type of ways. And me, Christion, and Blake, we talk on the regular, and we always trying to find a way to get things done. And
Yeah.
that's what I like about the culture at Alabama is when once you there, you're a family. Like, you gonna know everybody, you know what I'm saying, on the team. And no matter if you were there 10 years before that guy was there, you that young guy gonna know that older guy, and that older guy gonna know that young guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Glenn, man, if you don't mind, man, I would like to ask, man, like, for the young guys that, you kind of touched on a little bit, but I want to go on a little bit more details about, the young guys that uh high coming out of middle school, going into high school. And
Yeah.
they, like you said, they only got their one track mind of,
Right.
playing this sport. And I just want you to relay a message to them that can stick with them, and it can be something that they can be able to think about maybe 5 from 10 years and now, from hearing your powerful message, because you a different type of player, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you played 1 year, and you were like, this ain't for me,
Yeah.
like we were talking earlier. You were like, most of these guys still playing because of the lifestyle, and they don't
Mhm.
really like football.
Yeah.
Just give a little insight on, what's a message you can tell these guys.
So you got to ask yourself, and this ain't just for the young kid, this for anybody watching. You got to ask yourself, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? So if you're in high school, middle school, or whatever, and you ask yourself that question, and the only thing that you could think of is sports, that ain't it. You got to have something else to add to the table. And I'm gonna use myself as an example. So in like 2017, when you was up there, I went back to Bama to see if I wanted to coach. You know what I'm saying? And I realized I didn't want to coach. So I didn't want to get back in the sports world. And I started asking myself that question, damn, what can I do? What skills do I actually have? And I ain't talking about what you can learn in a book, right? So I said, you know what? I want to farm, because I was living out in Cali, and in Cali, everybody know where their food come from, what they put in their body, yada, yada, yada. So I started to take on that. So I said, you know what? I think I want to own my own piece of land. I want to farm, yada, yada, yada. So now I'm working on a farm, And that, when I was working on the farm, as I'm working on the farm, I noticed it's a lot of projects that got to get done. This got to be built, that got to be repaired. You got to use, a drill or an impact, and I would be lost. They'd be fixing this, doing that. Yeah, I could put a seed in the ground and bend over and plan and do all that, but they was doing all types of other stuff. I had no skills. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Florida, and I got to do something. I got to learn how to read a tape measure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was my next step. And that's why I started building fence. And just from 2.5 years of building fence, I can pretty much look at something and build it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I told you, I bought a van. The alternator went bad in the van. I took an alternator out the car and put a new alternator in, and now my van working. You know what I'm saying? I ain't have to take it to the shop. And that's another skill that I want to learn. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, what can you do? And too many of these kids, too many of y'all think that you got to have this, that, and the third and make a whole lot of money and go to school forever and all that. So I built fence, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I run around with an orange shirt on. It's funny because I'll run up on somebody, they be like, Glenn, what do you know how it is when somebody see y'all, they feel like they can ask you what you doing at all the personal questions of your life, right? And you ain't ask them none of that. So they were like, Glenn, what you doing? What you got doing? And I say, oh, I build fence. And they're like, oh, you own a fence company? No, I build fence. I work for a company. And they be so lost because they expect me to have all this going on just because I play football, bro.
Right.
Blowing my mind. So I build fence, right? And I work overtime. And then on Saturdays, I bust my ass on blogs and stuff, right? So what I pull in after taxes, what I pull in is $1,200 a week. You know what I'm saying? Some people might stick their nose up at that, but for a lot of kids, for an 18-year-old person graduating high school who football or basketball might not be his route because he ain't good enough, he can go build fence and wear an orange shirt and make after taxes over $50K within 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like that's decent money, but it's not just that. It's a step. We were talking about the process before. You can say, and by the time I'm 20 years old, I want to make over $50K. And then I'm gonna go from there. By the time I'm 25, I'm gonna make $75K. By the time I'm 30, I'm gonna make $100K. You know what I'm saying? It's cats who leave high school and got a trade. By the time they 28, they making over $35, $40 an hour. So our kids got to have another avenue and another approach to life besides what they've been shown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to, and it goes back to what I said. You got to ask yourself, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? Now I can fix a car. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can build a house pretty much. I've already built some other stuff that lets me know I can build a house. You know what I'm saying? Like I can grow food. You know, like I'm a self-sustainable person is what I'm trying to become. And what I'm getting at is it's another way.
Right.
And it's easy.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like learning the playbook.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hit this super chat from Mark Barefoot for $9.99. Thank you, man. We appreciate your support. And we have Glenn. She said, Glenn, sounds like you are true to yourself. Not many people have the courage to choose their own life or overcome what other people want them to do. Hats off to you.
Appreciate it.
And man, piggybacking off that, man, like I remember when you first retired, and I was, talking to Burns, and I was like, Glenn good, coach. You're like, man, Glenn found peace. And I was just like, he found peace. He just retired, his first year. He was killing. He was at the top of his game. Frank Gore just got hurt. He balled out too. He was just like, man, he's tired of it. There was a lot of stuff going on, and football wasn't the last result for Glenn. It wasn't his first or his last result. Like that wasn't his bottom picture. Like man, he found peace within. I know you got closer. In your religion and everything. I remember like your whole story, bro. Because it was like me. I was definitely a fan. But I was, also a little bro at the same time because I remember your first message to me. I'm talking about Glenn didn't talk much, y'all. Like he still don't for real. But like, we'll have our conversation. But one of his first conversations with me, that's how I knew you was going to the league. We was at the Challenger Banquet in Pensacola, and you came down to speak. It was you, Greg, and it was you, Greg McElroy, and it was somebody else from Bama. So the Challenger Banquet, y'all, is like an FCA thing. And all the teams from the SEC and really from the South come down and they speak, to the FCA group. And so he came down and afterwards, everybody know that, I'm Trent Richardson up in there and, I'm, the big time recruit and all this other stuff. But Glenn said this to me and I took this and ran with it. He said, be ready to run this ball next year. It's going to be on you. And like just hearing him say that, like it was more of a, I don't want to let you down. Like it wasn't much as the pressure. It was more like I gotta go, fill these shoes and make sure I make bro proud. Just like how we came back, when I speak to you, Bo, or we spoke, I speak to those kids today. Like I don't think those kids take that in consideration as, the ones that came before us. Like like we try not to let these guys down. Like that's like that was my biggest thing. Like it wasn't no NIL deals, it wasn't no, it wasn't no social media out there. So for me, I was playing for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like I was playing for my kids. I was playing because I didn't want to let big bro down. Like that was something that you left with me. Like you left those shoes with me. You know what I'm saying? So it was for me, man. Like that pushed me a lot to get to the next level, to play as a freshman, to play all 3 years, and to get up out of there. And then for me to lead that ball in somebody else's hand like a Eddie Lacy. Like I wasn't sure that I was gonna go to the league if I didn't know that Eddie Lacy was ready to take it to the next level.
Right.
Because what you left me with, when you left me with those keys to that ship, me and Mark, like I didn't want to put that in nobody else's hands, bro, unless they was ready.
Yeah.
And so, with you making peace, and I feel like you made peace within me to like, hey, LeBron, passing this on to you now. Don't mess this up.
Yeah.
Like, we already in a good position. We done made it to the SEC championship. Now you gotta take it over that hump. Right. Like I said, man, it's just a different calling for me, man. When I see Glenn and Terry Grant there, man, it's like I love the stories and stuff, man. But it's way deeper for me.
Yeah.
We got another super chat from Greg Page for $20. Thank you, man. We really appreciate that. And man, to piggyback off of what you said, Trent, and it just like the running backs at Bama, it just get passed on down. I remember you having a conversation with me at the LSU game on the sideline, and like you coaching me, and inside of my head, I'm like, damn, I got Trent watching me, and you know what I'm saying, he telling me what to do this, so I can't let him down. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go to the sideline and you know what I'm saying, he in my ear like, I told you, you know what I'm saying, you ain't do this and you ain't do that, because you know what I'm saying, that's the type of running backs that Coburn had built over there, and it just was passed on down the line, like how Glenn told Trent, Derek told me the same thing, you know what I mean? And then, but I was hearing it from different running backs before me. Like I'm gonna go back to what Trent was coaching me during the LSU game. And then he was like, yo, you got it, you know what I'm saying? The reason why, you know what I'm saying, you got put back because you weren't low enough. Next play, I go out there, I run through 1 through 3 on, you know what I'm saying? And then when I come to the sideline, then when he was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You see how you got behind your pads, and you know, it made me excited because I did something that he was coaching me to do, and it was just like that. It wasn't something that I had to practice. It was something that was being said on the sideline, and I didn't want to let him down because that's the running back room. You know what I'm saying? And if I feel like if I didn't do what I was, you know what I'm saying, what he was telling me to do, I would have felt like I let Glenn, Terry Grant, Roy Upchurch, Mark Ingram, Derek, TJ Yeldon, Ed Lacy, all them boys down, because you know what I'm saying, they were carrying the torch at the same time. So it just get that Bama factor is just different from other schools, man. It's something special.
And one thing about that too, Bo, I think, the way we got recruited, right? Glenn didn't go through the process at Bama getting recruited by Coach Burns, but so Coach Burns had to catch up to his personality. He had to get equipped to Coach Burns too. So it was different. They had to grow within each other. Like Burns, actually had a chance to sit in my house, sit in your house, meet your mom and them, other than just coming in there. And so when Glenn's saying this stuff to me, it was like he already know I can do this. And when I'm saying this to you, it's like I ain't never had to see you practice before. Like if Burns recruited you when you in that running back room with us, I done heard all this stuff, but I know you can do this. And so it's like I ain't asking you something that you can't do. You feel me? Like even with the boys today, like we're not asking y'all. And that's why I'm trying to get these young fellas to understand that we're not asking y'all nothing that we don't know that y'all can do. We know y'all can do it. That's why I was like, we're not saying, we're mad at y'all because y'all lost or y'all lost game. We're not even mad at y'all. We're upset about the potential that y'all do have. We know that y'all can dig and do this, because this is why our coaches, our school came and recruited y'all, because they know that y'all can carry this legacy and take it to another level.
Yeah.
Like that'd be my biggest thing. Like when Christion, like even with you, Blake, when you seen the Julio Jones come back for the game, or when you seen, even when I came back for the games, like it was a different you on the sideline. You was ready. Like I remember telling you my last year, I said, this is gonna be your team in 2 years or a year. I don't know if I said a year or 2 years, Christion.
Yeah, you said 2 years. I'll never forget.
I said it's gonna be your team in 2 years. And shit, damn show. You were taking back punt return, you were running the whole team. Blake, and I remember that LSU game at Botom. I said, man, take over. You looked at me, you gave me a look, you hit it down the sideline, you winked at me like, big bro. Like you ain't even had to speak it to me like, big bro. But it was like that feeling, man, like we know it's in y'all. Like we just want y'all to, dig deep and find it within yourself. One thing Burns always taught me, and Glenn too, like I can't believe more than you. I can't believe in yourself more than you do. Yeah. And sometimes it feel like we believe more in them kids than they do themselves. Sure. And I'm not saying they don't believe in themselves, but I feel like we believe in those kids way more than they really, look at themselves, and when they look in the mirror and say that, man, this I've been doing this. I can do this. That's just like going in the backyard when y'all playing sandlot football, saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you catching it out of bounds. You tiptoeing before you go out of bounds. It's stuff like that. We've been prepared for this moment. And so, man, when it comes to things like that, man, I just really wish those kids would take this in, like, and believe in themselves, because I'm telling you, they can do it, and I know they can do it.
Yeah. It just that I think that it just be a lot of outsiders that be up in their ear, you know what I'm saying, telling them different things, and not buying into the system of what's going on campus and what's going on in that locker room.
Christion.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it. Like when I was at Bama, we had 9 running backs. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing somebody in the street will say, man, you need to go to Ole Miss where you can start. You need to go to Mississippi State where you can start. Nah, I'm going over here so I can compete with the best. And if I can compete with the best, I am the best. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why if we had one player get hurt, the next player coming in just as good as the starter,
if not better. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because we wanted to compete. We wasn't running from competition. That's what we were running to. We were running to the competition. Like when Roden was playing, and I was watching Trent and Mark Ingram and all them. I'm watching the game like I want to play with those guys, Holmes. I want to be with them boys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to play with them boys that coming out, that got that fire in their eye. You call that sideline. You see the other team nutted up like they scared. You know what I mean? Like we got the game beat before we even play, because the other team, they intimidated by us about how we come out.
And I think Christion said it best, bro, last week. He said, man, when was the last time Bama was worried about, anybody in that building was worried about what the fans were saying? Right. And is that what you said, Christion? Mm-hmm. It was something next to that. And it was just like when you said that, like, damn, that took me back. Like, bro, I've never heard an outsider. I've never heard nobody outside that locker room or that coaching staff. Like, I like that brought me all the way back. Like, damn, like, it's crazy because those kids are buying into that. Like, they're buying into the wrong thing.
Yes.
And I guess it's the social media world, but it's just like, bro, if we do what we're supposed to do, if we follow that process, whether it's 3 years, Glenn, when you 4 years when you finally started, 3 years when you finally started, or whether, even with me, I finally started my last year in school. Yeah. Like I had 1 year. Christion, when you finally started with your last year or your third year?
Yeah, my second year.
Second year in school. Blake, you started your last year in school. Yeah. Bo, you started when?
My last year.
Everybody on here had that situation. Like, it was like today's society, like, Guys ain't going a year, or guys going starting 2 years and getting up out of there.
Getting about it, yeah.
Gotta do it.
But these
Gotta
these kids now, they don't want to compete. They want to come in and let it be handed to them. They don't want to get down and dirty and have that blood, sweat, and tears. That's how you bring the team together. That's why we won so many national championships, because we was out there grinding together, helping each other out, carrying each other on our back. And one person ain't making the 110, ain't nobody making it. We all running the extra one.
Yeah. I always want. Go ahead, Blake.
Oh no, I was just about to say that I think it starts at home, man. I think like it's how them parents like. I think like in the school I'm at, you know, like not just trying to talk down on them or anything. It's just they don't got no fear. They don't got no fear when it comes to their parents. They haven't really faced no adversity. You know, they can't accept a loss. They don't know how to take that loss and turn it into a positive. So when they take that loss, they get to think like their career is over, or they feel like they got to make a reaction for them to get people to start liking them again.
Blake, I always wanted to ask you, because Bo was talking about competing. Like when you took on the scene, they really hadn't seen a play caller like you before. You know what I'm saying? Like you had your own little everything as far as the position. So I've always want to ask you, like, was you just like, damn, like looking around like, oh, I'm here, like this like I'm the quarterback. Or was you always in the back of your head like, if I ever touch the field, they're gonna see something they never seen before?
Yeah, it was just like my favorite spot when it comes to that. It was always coming when Coach Saban just told me that I'm always worried what other people think about me. So like I used to just like move in the wrong way. So when I got that, but I always knew when I got the opportunity to touch the field, man, I'll go make them folk know. And it was just like. Through situation when I went in the locker room when somebody told me I'll never saw that Alabama, that just like flipped the whole switch. But it was like I knew I'm a running quarterback. But everybody that's down with me, I'm gonna go learn how to be a pro style quarterback, but I'm not gonna forget who I am.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I got the opportunity, it was like, all right, because I remember telling Wayne, like, don't take that play action out.
Right.
Everybody feels like you can't do that. They feel like you shotgun. Well, put the reps in at practice.
Right.
And that's what we did. You feel me? So I was there. I was ready. You know, the opportunity was there, bro. And then my grandmother, like, you know, thank God to her, she keep the faith of God in me, you know, and moving the way I need to move by her, you know, calling me, just put my faith in God's hand and accept anything he brings my way. I think that start seeing.
No doubt.
Yeah. Justin, you had a question.
Yeah, I got a question. You know, Glenn, one of the things I like about this show is that, we're able to talk about all the glamorous things associated with football, but we can also go beyond the lights, right? Yeah. And one of the things that I feel like I connected with you about a couple of years ago when I interviewed you, you told me about your internal battles. And I was going through a lot at the time where things weren't going so great. I had questions on whether or not I wanted to be here, and you shared how you struggle with that too. And we're in a day and age where that's being brought out more, especially in the world of athletics. How did you find your peace, and how you talked about earlier, and how did you overcome that? And what advice do you have with these other athletes who, you know, they don't have somebody that's able to kind of guide them out of that storm like you faced?
Right. I think you can't be stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think when you start to get bored, you start to get stagnant, and your mind start to slow down, and you start focusing on all the negative stuff, it's easy to be under that cloud. It's easy to be under that weight, you know, under that blanket. But I feel like you always got to be a dream chaser. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care if you're happy, sad, depressed, joyous, you can always have a dream in the back of your head. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got that dream and you can take steps towards that, you'll get up out that swamp. And so that's what got me through it. Besides saying, of course, my faith, you feel me? Of course, the spirit inside of me. you know. But beyond that, I've always had a dream in the back of my head. You know what I'm saying? I've always had a dream in the back of my head. Even now, you know what I'm saying? Even now, when I look at myself and say, damn, like I build fence, you know what I'm saying? As a 35-year-old father, ex-NFL player, ex whatever have you. But then I got to remind myself, oh, I just did 5 side jobs and made $1,000 on each job easy, $1,000 a day type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, because part of my dream is start my own fence company so that I can use a fence company to support the farm. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I can have a coffee shop, you know what I'm saying, that sells produce and food from the farm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everybody got to be a dream chaser.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And your dream can't be nobody else's dream. It got to be
True
yours.
enough. True enough.
So that's how I got out of depression. You know what I'm saying? And whenever I found myself even going anywhere towards that direction, that I got this dream, that dream, I said, okay, let me get back to dream chasing. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I deal with it.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, Glenn, we appreciate you for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Man, before we close up shop, man, I want to do something a little different. I want to go around the room, and I want everybody to give a comment or something towards the people that they can be motivated off of, or they can take with them and learn from it. Learn something from this show. Something that you can tell them they can stick with them, or they can motivate them. Is what I'm trying to say. Something different. And I start with you, Christion.
For me, I guess you could say what Glenn said, man. Everybody find something else to do. Don't get caught up, don't get stagnant, don't get complacent. Always find something else to do. Even if you have a big corporate job, find a way to own it or find a way to start your own business. Find a way to make people or get people to work for you and your dream and not always help somebody else building theirs. And always be willing to listen and learn. The only way we can excel in life is by learning things, and it's always the things that we don't want to do or don't want to learn that we have to learn the most. So that's something that I would share with everybody, and that's something that I'm learning to do myself.
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. I like that.
I'll say mine is, man.
I go with you, Blake. Go ahead.
All right, be who you are, bro, and place yourself around people that accept you for who you are and love you for who you are, and who just pretty much accept you and just strive to be the best that you can be and be where your feet are at every moment, and just have that relationship with the man upstairs, man, and because that's all that matters.
To y'all three.
Oh man, it's so many, bro. Just off different situations, man. Don't think off emotions. Think about it. Look at your position, and don't let the circumstance or the situation be your outcome. And that don't define you. Whether you got $1 million or whether you got $1, just know it's more better days coming, and it's definitely more better. It's more better than bad. So, let's think about the situation at hand and how can you find a solution to it, other than panicking, other than giving up. Just know that it's somebody around you who never gave up on you. It's somebody looking down who is looking at you. Somebody's always looking up to you too, no matter if you got it or not. What do you think within yourself? But trust me, there's always somebody that you can move in a positive way. So it's so many out there, bro. But you can be a blessing to yourself, and you can be a light to somebody else too. So I can go on for days, man.
Yeah, Glenn.
Like we always hear, we only got this one life to live, and you got to make the most of it. But in reality, in my opinion, we live forever, and we talking about what can somebody do in their life to better their life besides sports or besides football or whatever have you. But on the other side of that token, it'd be a lot of people out there that put too much pressure on themselves to do this and to do that and to want to be this and want to be that. But in reality, kind of like y'all was saying, like, it's really not just about you. Like, if you can touch other people, you know what I'm saying, then that's a life worth living, you know. And I just think if people just really ask themselves, you know what I'm saying, what they want to do, it's a lot simpler than what people think, than what we taught to believe. You know what I'm saying? We taught to believe that, you know, you got to have this and have that. Kind of like y'all was saying, just find out who you is inside. Keep it simple.
Justin, you got anything?
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off of something that Glenn mentioned. When in terms of your dream, I believe a dream is God breathed. It's spoken directly to you by God. That means not everybody's going to understand it. You're going to have naysayers. They're going to try to direct you off that path because it's not meant for them. But the thing is, we're held accountable for what we do and how we use our gifts to God, not man. Yeah. And that's a huge point that you made, Glenn. And yeah, you might have a huge expectation out of all these fans of being a former Bama player, being a former NFL player, but you're doing what you're called to do. Regardless if it's a trade, regardless if it's something that has nothing to do with football, that was breathed to you by God. And that means you're in his will and on that path.
Yeah.
So we can't divert what we are called to do from what we're called to do just because it's not accepted by man.
Preach, Deacon.
I like that. I'm gonna just say something short. Mine is, real simple. And I always say abide by the rules, follow the rules and do what you've been asked, man, and obey everybody. And what I'm saying, be respectful towards everyone because you never know when you might need that person. You may be mean to this person, what I'm saying, in high school to middle school, and 10, 15 years down the road, you in their doctor office, and what I'm saying, and they can remember what you have done to them, what I'm saying, those type of, back then. And another thing I want to say, man, it's not about what you want, it's about what you're willing to do to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't think about it that way, man. It is a lot of people want a lot of things, but they not willing to do to get it. And that's a big thing that I think people in the world need to think about. What they what they're willing to do to get what they want, man. And it's a great show, man. I appreciate you guys for coming on tonight, man. Glenn, and man, it was a special night, man. I appreciate you for sharing your story. Blake, thank you for taking your time, man, and coming on. Chris and John, I know you're a busy guy, man. Got all your players and your school and other things going on. And Trent, I appreciate you as well from a million things you got going on. You the AD, you the radio host, you the head football coach, you the basketball coach, tennis coach.
And he fixes carburetors.
So man, I appreciate your hour. I appreciate you giving me an hour of your time, man. And Justin, is always a good deal on our hand, man. And I appreciate you guys, man. Have a blessed night and roll tide.
Roll Tide. Yes,
Roll
sir.
Tide.